Hey guys, welcome back to the house where we talk news, celebrities, and hot topics. Listen, let's go ahead and talk about the talk show girlies. Have you guys been tuning into the Sherri Shepard show? Honestly, I still cannot give Sherri Shepard a fair shake. I can't give her a fair critique because I've only seen it in passing, which basically means that if my TV just so happened to be turned on to Fox 5 Atlanta, WAGA here in Atlanta, and it comes on, I'm like, oh, okay, let me see what Sherri Shepard is talking about. And I can only like really get through 10 minutes. Like the theme song is really cute. The audience is very energetic. She's all nice and happy-go-lucky and stuff like that. But after 10 minutes of seeing her, talk, it's just kind of like, okay. And then I tune out. Not saying that it's bad, but I just don't think that it's for me, right? Because, it's a very... There are two types of talk shows, right? You have the talk shows that are very happy-go-lucky. You have your Sherrys, you have your Ellens and stuff like that. You have your Kelly Clarkson where it's like happy-go-lucky, very, very positive, and that's all cute and dandy, but I'm just not a happy-go-lucky type of bitch. I'm just not. Like, I like the talk shows where we really get down to the nitty-gritty and we talk about some real shit. Okay, I want to talk about the real shit, which is why I love The View. Because there are happy-go-lucky elements, because we still have to remember that this is daytime television. And so you have to keep it like light and airy to a certain extent. But I love how The View, weaves in these difficult, very serious topics about what's happening in the world and politics and government and laws and, those sorts of things. And so I like the real shit. I like the real conversations. And of course, we're not going to get any real conversations for Sherri Shepard, but there's an audience for that. And I just don't believe that I am the audience for that. So because I have not watched like an entire episode, I really can't give it a fair critique. Now, with that being said, though, the show has been renewed for 2 more seasons, which I find to be really interesting because a lot of the folks, when it was announced that she was replacing Wendy Williams in her time slot, basically said that Sherri Shepard wasn't going to last now 1 season. They said Sherri Shepard was not going to last not 1 season, and she did, right? And listen, it may not be my type of show. However, I just did not appreciate people basically kind of like discrediting and counting her out from the very beginning, right? Saying, things like, oh, the only reason why you got your talk show is because Wendy Williams did this, and your success is off of Wendy's back, and all of these things. And, Wendy Williams decided to throw a whole bunch of shade towards Sherri Shepard's way, talking about I'm not going to watch it, and she's not my type of girl, and all of these things. And when she responded and basically said that Wendy Williams is sick and she needs help, y'all got upset at Sherri Shepard for responding to Wendy's shade, which I don't really understand. Like, how y'all gonna get upset at the response, but y'all not upset at the agitator? How you get upset at the agitated, but don't get upset with the agitator? Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So listen, the facts of it all is that Sherri Shepard joined The View, I think right before Wendy Williams' show got greenlit. And so they've been doing TV for around the same time. Sherri Shepard now has her own talk show. She's had her sitcom. She's done the comedy. She's done this, that, and the third. She's come back to guest co-host The View. So we're not going to act like Sherri Shepard is not a professional and just as qualified to have this time slot as any other person. Now, Jennifer Hudson is a whole totally different story. Now, I have not seen Jennifer Hudson's show at all. I don't even know what channel that show comes on. However, I did see a clip. I believe it was her and Jennifer Holliday, if I'm not mistaken. And it was like this really cute clip where they were singing You're Gonna Love Me or something like that from Dreamgirls, because I believe they both played Effie White, Jennifer Hudson in the movie version, and then Jennifer Holliday in the Broadway version, the original Broadway version, and stuff like that. So that was a really cute scene. But I really have not seen the show. I did have Jason Lee onto the show. I did have Archie J onto the show on this platform, and they basically told me that Jennifer Hudson is not cut out to be a talk show host. However, her show also did get renewed for just 1 season, okay? Not 2 seasons like Sherri, but 1 season on whatever channels that it comes on. Now, with that being said, could it be possible that Jennifer Hudson may not be the best talk show host now, but she could come back, okay? She could come back, a major comeback, and actually evolve to be one of the greatest? I mean, who knows? If I was to get a talk show greenlit right now, I promise you it would probably be the worst show on television. It would probably be the worst show on television, but I would try my hardest and my damnedest to make sure that every day I tried my best to become better, that every day I tried my best to get renewed. And if I got renewed, I would try my best to be better and better and better and better, right? And so that might be Jennifer Hudson's, this might be her calling. You know, she may not be the best at what she does, but, you know, something is said, something can be said about her work ethic, and she could wound up being one of the talk show greats. I mean, you never know. You never know. Right? You have to give people a chance. I hate when they renew shows or when they create shows and then they cancel them after one season. And it's just kind of like, sis, like, this could potentially be the next cult classic, but we'll never know because you fucking canceled the shit too early. Like, sometimes you have to give shows and stuff time to evolve. All right. So shout out to Jennifer Hudson. Shout out to Sherry Shepard. Shout out to Wendy Williams. Now, speaking of the talk show girlies, Wendy Williams. Y'all know Wendy Williams got replaced by Sherry Shepard. Essentially, you know, she had a breakthrough case of COVID. She ended up missing the entire final season of her talk show. I think she was going through some addiction scares and stuff like that. She entered into rehab. She was out there on the streets of New York trying to convince the taxi driver to get her liquor and stuff like that so that she could be drunk and passed out on the top floor of that penthouse condo in New York City. A whole hot damn mess. All right. Now she's out of rehab. We believe she's doing a little bit better. She did do the sister to sister conference or whatever the hell it was called. And she seemed like she was doing better. Now, with that being said, she for like a year at this point has been telling us she's going to do this podcast. She has this manager by the name of William Selby, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been doing the press. I forgot what I was saying. They've been doing the press. They've been all over talking about they're doing a podcast. They're doing a podcast. They did a photo shoot. They have merch. They've been doing all of these things, right? To let the public know that we have a podcast coming out. All right. If you even look on to the podcast website, it says that it's a nationally syndicated podcast, which lets me know that there have been television stations and or radio stations who have licensed out the podcast to play on the airwaves, which I think is a bold-faced lie. Okay. And I've been saying that this podcast is a grift. Either Wendy Williams is trying to, pull a fast one on us, or the manager is trying to pull a fast one on us via Wendy Williams. Now, with that being said, I am super dark. With that being said, we get the merch with no podcast. And now Jason Lee is coming out and saying that Wendy Williams told him not too long ago that she was taking a year off. So Jason Lee has this new show called The Jason Lee Show. He invited me to the launch party that I was not able to go to. So shout out to Jason Lee. Much success to him. We love Jason Lee over here. The show looks really, really good. Definitely a step up from the gagging. You know what I mean? You can tell he has put a lot of money and effort into this, and he struck a deal with Revolt TV, which I think is super, super dope. Jason Lee is dope, and I will be tuning in. Now, he was answering questions. So he was doing a Q&A on his Instagram stories about the show, right? And he asked his folks, who do you want me to interview on the show? And a fan wrote in and said, Wendy Williams. And Jason Lee responded with this. He said, I talked to her last week, and she said that she's taking a year off. Knowing Wendy, that could change tomorrow. What? Jason Lee is exposing Wendy Williams. Now listen, there is a possibility that Wendy Williams may have already recorded and filmed some content for this podcast, and it's, on someone's, hard drive. Right? It could be on somebody's hard drive, and maybe they're just waiting for the perfect date to release the episodes. But I highly doubt that that's the case. Okay? If that's not the case, then this whole podcast thing has been a lie. This whole podcast thing has been a lie because, number one, first off, you've already taken 2 years off. So it's not like, let's not act like you've been working and, oh my God, I'm so tired, I need to take a year off. You haven't done nothing. Okay, you haven't done anything. Now, maybe you just need to rest. And I've been saying this for the longest time. I feel like she needs to go to therapy. She needs to continue on this rehab journey. And she needs to make sure that her mental and physical health and well-being is at tip-top shape before she does anything. Okay? But she hasn't been saying that. She hasn't been saying that she's going to take a year off. She's been saying that she's going to come out with this podcast. So how is it that you are supposed to be doing content for this podcast, but allegedly you telling Jason Lee that you finna take a year off? That really don't go together. Are you taking a year off or are you doing a podcast? Which one is it, Wendy? Is you taking a year off or are you doing this podcast? Because even if you do the podcast, don't you have to you're going to do press for the podcast? Like, even if the podcast is already filmed and then you're going to go take a break, which we know that's not the case. If that was the case, you would want to do press for the podcast, which is essentially work, right? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Y'all, this podcast is a grift. So I even took it a step further and asked Jason Lee. I said, so there's no podcast? Since she's taking a year off, there's no podcast? He said, I don't know. He said, I don't know. I just kind of feel like this podcast is one instance in the curious case of Wendy Williams. In the same instance where she basically told Jason Lee that she was married, but she really isn't married. Okay? At this point, we know Wendy Williams, like, God bless her soul. You know what I mean? She might be sick. She may not have all her faculties and whatnot. However, she is a bona fide liar, and we knew this because she went onto the television screen while her husband was out there cheating, and Daily Mail had did an entire expose and had been following y'all hoes for 3 months. How y'all know that the Daily Mail not following you for 3 months? Anyways, the Daily Mail was following them for months and had uncovered the baby and Sharina Hudson and the affair and things of that nature. And when it was exposed, Wendy Williams sat in her purple chair, and basically said, all is well in Huntersville. And I was like, Wendy Williams, all is not well. Stop lying. Stop lying. Stop lying. I would rather you not even mention the Daily Mail and them exposing your life than for you to get up on your platform and lie. The breakthrough case of COVID, that was a lie. This podcast is seeming like a lie. So y'all got to let me know how y'all feel about the situation in the comments down below. Before we log off, I want to mention a lot of deaths, okay? A lot of people have been dying, unfortunately, and it's a very sad situation. Speaking of the talk shows and The View, Barbara Walters, icon, legend, trailblazer, broke the glass ceiling. Rest in peace to Barbara Walters. Tamara Tattles. Kempire came out on Twitter a couple of days ago and basically said that sources are telling him that Tamara Tattles had passed away, which is a very unfortunate situation because we sourced Tamara Tattles on our platform numerous times. And so it's a very unfortunate situation. What's interesting about Tamara Tattles is that a lot of the time she did blog about reality television, but she would have these personal excerpts about her personal life. And I do remember, like, she was talking about health insurance in one blog post, and she was talking about how she was in the hospital in another post, and she was saying how she didn't feel good and she was sick and she was taking time off and things like that. And so, you know, it's a very sad situation. And she wrote about it, I mean, up until this moment. And so I find that to be really extremely sad. So rest in peace to her. Simon Gobadia's mother passed away, which I found to be really interesting. Can someone let me know, did she attend? I'm assuming she did, but did she come to Atlanta to attend the wedding? I really hope she got to witness her son getting married to the beautiful Portia Williams. But Portia Williams did come onto her Instagram page and basically say that the mother passed. And so rest in peace to her. Very sad situation. And then I believe Diamond of Diamond and Silk. Now, y'all, I'm going to have to restrain myself while I talk about this. Y'all know Diamond and Silk, the duo, the two black women that were representing Trump in his 2016 campaign to become president. Right, they would get up there on their rallies and basically be like, we support Trump, black people support Trump, Trump will be the best president, we love Donald J. Trump, and this, that, and the third. Very embarrassing, very cringy, very like they're in the sunken place. And I've said this numerous times, there's nothing wrong with being a black Republican, but there's definitely something wrong with being a black MAGA. It's something wrong with being Make America Great Again. It is definitely something wrong with being a Trump supporter. Black, white, yellow, pink, no matter what the hell you are. Being a Trump supporter is like, just no. Okay? Racist chief in charge. I mean, not a clue in the world. Can't rub two brain cells together to create some friction to come up with a decent idea. I mean, wanted us to ingest bleach. You know, participated in a quid pro quo with the folks up there at Ukraine so that, you know, people could spill the beans on Biden, you know, inviting foreign nationals to interfere in the election, rubbing shoulders with and canoodling with Vladimir Putin, who he believed over his own intelligence community. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, saying that black people live in shithole countries. I mean, the man was disgusting. Invited, you know, a Hitler lover, a Nazi sympathizer to the White House, Mr. Kanye fucking West, talking about our president needs to be in the flyest ride. We need to pimp out his airplane. We need to pimp out the Air Force One. I thought that was disgusting. When you have people dying, you sitting up here having this dumbass conversation with Kanye West. Y'all know I could talk about Mr. Donald Trump for the longest time. But the Diamond and Silk, okay? Diamond and or Silk, one of them passed away, so rest in peace to them. I thought it was embarrassing how they were, you know, being Uncle Tommyanas on the campaign trail. But, you know, it's always an unfortunate situation when someone passes away most of the time. So, you know, condolences to her sister, her family, and things like that. I believe her name was Lynette Hardaway, if I'm not mistaken. So that's that. A lot of celebrity deaths, and it's been really crazy out here. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about the entire situation in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to create a great day. Bye.